Good morning, you're watching Addis News Hour. I'm Zorda Desalegn. Thank you for joining us and do stay tuned. The Government Communications Service the previous day announced in a statement that the African Union's official invitation for a peace talk is consistent with the Ethiopian government's prior position. It said the entities leading the African Union peace talks have made an official invitation for peace talks to begin and have announced both the date and venue. Recalling the government's unwavering position that talks should only be mediated by the African Union, it further said the talks should be held without any preconditions. The statement indicated the government remains committed to adopt all possible measures to resolve the conflict in a manner that ensures lasting peace, territorial integrity of the country, and will continue upholding this commitment. President Sahle-Work Zewde has been a Gavi champion since 2020, received the CEO of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, Seth Blakely, in her office. The two officials discussed the partnership between Ethiopia and Gavi, Ethiopia's supports to the 2021 to 2025 strategic vision of Gavi that aims zero-dose immunization program to bring benefit to children. Ethiopia is a priority country for Gavi and the second largest recipient of funds. The president extended appreciation for Gavi's support and reassured of the country's commitment to increase immunization coverage. The North Wollo Zone Health Department in the state of Amhara confirmed that health facilities in Raya Qobo district and Qobo town have been completely looted, burned to ashes and destroyed by the terrorist TPLF. According to the Communications Bureau of the North Wollo Zone, the terrorist TPLF has repeatedly committed countless atrocities against the society by destroying public facilities, looting and burning properties, raping, killing and torturing in the areas it invaded. Head of the North Wollo Zone Health Department, Fedleko Mekonnen, stated that the terrorist group has repeatedly caused myriads of human and material damage to the community in the area. She revealed that 9 health centers and hospitals that were providing health services to the local community, including Qobo Town Hospital, were completely demolished by the terrorist group. An economics professor says sanctions and threats will never help solve political problems. Talking to ETV, economics professor and advisor to the UN, Jeffrey Sachs, urged Western powers to stop implementing unilateralism and rather conduct fruitful discussions with the other side of the globe. Tigris Anissa has the following account.
On top of climate change crisis and the pandemic, powerful countries take the lion's share of responsibility for the global economic crisis, says the professor. Talking to ETV, Sachs urged the Western leaders to try to put themselves in the shoes of the other part of the world.
The major powers, and since I'm an American, I call on my own government first, to calm down, talk to the other side, stop the unilateralism, stop the threats, because the world is extremely destabilized right now after COVID and climate change and the war in Ukraine and the sanctions regime and all the other shocks that are hitting. Too much instability, and we need building, not destruction. And so we should be absolutely calming down, and especially talking with the other side, because if you don't talk to the other side, there's no chance of solutions to any of these problems.
He further added that meddling in the internal affairs of developing countries will never help reap the benefit deserved.
Powerful countries meddle in other countries' issues. And in the case of Africa, it was more than meddling. It was 100 or more years of direct imperial rule. And after the end of imperialism, the powerful Western countries continued to meddle, either because they were feeling that this was a proxy war for U.S.-Soviet competition, or now U.S.-China competition, or because they wanted minerals at low prices or some other resource. It's been a mix of motives, but basically because the power relations are so unequal and the arrogance is so high on the powerful side, the result is just chronically deficient. Rich country governments don't listen well. They don't respond well. They often behave badly. They think of themselves. They think that because they have the weapons, they have the right to do what they want.
Sachs also indicated that sanctions and threats will never help solve political problems.
But I've often pointed out that the U.S. sanctions regimes just don't solve political problems. It's not the right way. So in Venezuela, the U.S. wanted to overthrow the government, actually, and it decided that it would impose crushing economic sanctions against the Maduro government. But you know what? Trump put those on in 2017. It's 5 years later. President Maduro is still very much in power. They didn't have the political effect, but they sure did crush the Venezuelan economy for no reason.
You're watching Addis News Hour, and we have arrived to the segment of What's Trending, and I'm joined by our staff member, Daniel Kassan, here with me in the studio. A very good morning, Daniel.
Good morning to you.
So as we cast forward to what's been trending over the past 24 hours, I think I should probably point out the few pointers over what's trending. First off, with the arrival of President William Ruto of Kenya to Addis Ababa, and the other one being the mediation between the government of Ethiopia and the TPLF, and if I'm not mistaken, with the famine in Somalia. I think you've got the whole gist of it in a nutshell.
All right, let's begin with the arrival of the newly elected President of Kenya, William Ruto, in Addis Ababa. He is welcomed by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed a few minutes ago, and he is here. He happened to be in Addis Ababa for the launch of Safaricom Ethiopia. It's going to be launched at the Ethiopia Friendship Square this afternoon, and he's accompanied by other officials of Kenya. And the existence of Safaricom Ethiopia telecommunication service is a plus for the telecommunication industry in this country to share experiences and to expand the telecom service in this country. And this intervention, inviting the private sector, especially from foreign companies, is new for Ethiopia, and it helps the country to achieve its homegrown economic reform. As part of the homegrown economic reform transformation plan of this country, and most importantly, this also helps the aspired integration in the Horn of Africa. There is a high need to integrate the region, even to integrate Africa as a whole. And in the Horn of Africa, already Ethiopia and Kenya are interconnected by electric power lines, and now telecommunication is emerging here, and this helps integrate the two countries very well, and also this shows that the two countries are bilateral relationship between the two countries is in a good shape, and it helps the peaceful coexistence between the two countries. It's also William Ruto, in connection to our next point, the mediation between the central government of Ethiopia and the TPLF factions. William Ruto has already appointed his predecessor, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, to take part in the mediation effort, which is going to happen at the end of the week. And Uhuru Kenyatta, along with former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, along with the African Union envoy, will lead the mediation effort, and hopefully this will be successful. From the Tigrayan side, from the TPLF side, the leader, Debretsion Gebremichael, has asked for, requested the union and respective bodies to provide his team basic service facilities in order to get there and in order to take part in the negotiation. The other alarming issue in the Horn of Africa is the case in Somalia. The drought happened in the Horn of Africa. It's not only happening in Somalia, but also East African countries are all affected by the climate change induced droughts. But the situation in Somalia is different because famine is at its alarming state in Somalia, and it's claiming the lives of the Somali people, and officials in Somalia are requesting the international community and non-governmental organizations to provide them humanitarian support and other facilities in order to curb this problem.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for giving us the connotations of what's been trending.
Thank you.
In this auspicious Ethiopian New Year, ETV English will bring you new programs that will inform and update you on major national and continental issues that matter. Sit tight and remain alert as we are bringing you new programs entitled Diplomatic Insights and Explore Ethiopia. Stay tuned for more from ETV English, your new voice of diversity and renaissance.
A leaked video has revealed that the TPLF has been targeting civilians since the very beginning of the war in the northern part of Ethiopia. The group, bent on dismembering the unity of the country, used humanitarian aid provided to the people of Tigray for military purpose, while most of the international community conveniently ignored these facts. Johannes Pantown has more on this.
The terrorist TPLF has repeatedly claimed to be the advocate for the people of Tigray, but its actions during the war prove that it's anything but a true representative of Tigrayans. Currently, the terrorist group, which incurred heavy loss after waging war against Ethiopia for a third round, spread its lies of all sorts. But a glance at what it did in the place it controlled in Amhara briefly reveals that it was engaged in barbaric activities against civilians. TPLF soldiers forced women and children as well as the elderly to flock to the war fronts in an apparent attempt to create a human wave against the Ethiopian army.
We have evacuated the area. Wherever we stayed, we had to face heavy fighting, and so we had to face a staggering degree of casualties. Most of our fighters have died in the war. Our vehicles have also been burned. Unable to face the frontal battle, we decided to invade areas where we could hide among civilians and use them in the fight as shields.
It is to be recalled that the group, which has been using the humanitarian aid provided to the people of Tigray for military purposes since the day after the outbreak of the war, has been making allegations that there is a lack of humanitarian aid. However, the TPLF has been blatantly denying food to the people of Tigray and diverting nearly everything for its war efforts. On the contrary to this, some Western countries and media institutions have come up with rather twisted version of the war, making the TPLF the victim when it is actually the villain.
Ethiopia and Ghana discussed ways of transferring knowledge of artisanal gold miners. Ethiopian Minister of Mines and Petroleum, Engineer Takley Umar, received Ghanaian Ambassador to Ethiopia, Ama-A Twum Amoa, at his office to explore ways of experience exchange on artisanal mining. Both officials had fruitful discussions on ways to enrich practical experience of Ethiopian artisanal gold miners by sharing the knowledge of Ghanaian counterparts. The Ministry of Education expressed confidence that the nation is in a much better position to conduct the National School Leaving Certificate exam free of any contamination. Talking to ETV, the Minister, Professor Berhanu Nagga, indicated that his ministry has taken the lion's share to spearhead the move for fair and successful election in the country. Efforts to grant autonomous status to universities, he said, would help curb challenges related to entrance exams administered by higher education institutions. Daniel Kasahun talked to the minister and compiled the following report. Take a look.
The Ethiopian Ministry of Education is responsible for conducting national exams. It takes the lion's share. Here with me is Professor Berhanu Nagga. He is Ethiopian Minister of Education. What's new?
What we have done this year is we totally separated as much as possible to avoid any contamination in this process of providing the exam. So we are taking the kids to federal institutions, universities in the regions, and make them take the exams in those institutions where they would be housed, fed, for the whole duration of the exam time. They are not allowed to carry any instrument that would have the possibility of transmitting what the exams are to others. That is a fundamentally new way of providing these exams. This is the first time that is happening in this country, where because of that we are moving some close to 970,000 students. Therefore, the logistics is humongous. We are doing it for the first time, so this is going to be a test of the country's capacity to deliver such huge logistical fit.
I want you to tell me more about the controlling mechanism in order to avoid cheating and stealing of exam papers.
So first, starting from the way we prepare the exams, we have tried to sanitize it as much as possible so that there will not be any mechanisms through which the exam those people who prepare the exams are not known. They don't have any connection with the internet during the preparation of the exam. It is in a secluded place where they prepare these exams. So we try to sanitize that area, the very preparation. Then once it is prepared, the printing of the exams equally involves high-level security, both digital security as well as physical security, conducted by the Federal Police and INSA and other security institutions.
Briefly about your confidence, how successful will it going to be?
You know, when you do a new thing, the new thing can come also with its own problem. We'll see. That we will see, you know, in the next, you know, after we finish the exam and after we see how, after we evaluate what has actually happened. But for now, we are reasonably confident that we have made the process much more, significantly more fair and equitable to all the students than ever before in the past, to create an environment where students can only rely on their own capacities and their own hard work than anything else. But this is not to say that it would be 100% proof. We'll see. But I am reasonably confident.
Great intervention. Hopefully next week's exam will be successful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Two former Ethiopian leaders urged investors to exert efforts towards the success of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Former Ethiopian President Mulatu Teshome and former Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn made the remark at a recognition ceremony sponsored by the Entrepreneurial Forum for Peace and Development. The Entrepreneurial Forum for Peace and Development is an institution working on peace and development in Ethiopia and the IGAD region. Speaking on the occasion, the former Ethiopian President Mulatu Teshome said the institution works on peace and development in Ethiopia and the IGAD region, and the investor is a founding member of this institution. The former Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn, for his part, said the investor receiving the award played a crucial role in connecting Ethiopia and neighboring countries through business and diplomatic relations.
Shapa,